Last few years, many bad things have been happening in real estate. You have foreclosures, you have all kinds of short sales, you have all kinds of things happening. You have people going into bankruptcy, and you think, well, after I've done that, or I've lost my home, surely that's the end. Well, the answer is it's not the end. There are worse things that could happen because your friends at the IRS could show up and say, oh, by the way, you owe a lot more. Watch this.
It's bad enough to lose your home to foreclosure, or to have your car repossessed, or to be forced to file for bankruptcy. But as awful as those things are, your financial nightmare could get even worse when the IRS shows up and slaps you with a Form 1099-C. A 1099-C is a tax form that says that you actually received income when your debt was forgiven. So on top of all the other bad news, the IRS expects you to pay taxes on non-existent income, turning a difficult financial situation into an impossible one. Tax expert Dan Pilla says you don't have to add insult to injury, and you don't have to pay taxes on canceled debt. His new book and DVD are called How to Eliminate Taxes on Debt Forgiveness. It's a step-by-step guide to show you how to avoid paying taxes on canceled debt.
Well, here's the book. It's got a pretty color, red, white, and blue. Looks like the American flag. How to Eliminate Taxes on Debt Forgiveness. Our friend Dan Pilla is here with us again. Dan, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, Pat. How you doing?
All right. You talk about the 1099-C, which is a notice that you have received income. It goes out that income has come to you from some source other than your earnings. How many of those things have gone out?
Well, Pat, since 2008, when America started in this financial downturn that we've had, there have been at least 5 million a year that have gone out. And this is a result of bankruptcies and foreclosures and short sales, these things you listed out at the top of the segment here. 5 million taxpayers a year are dealing with this phantom income, where the IRS comes along and says, okay, you've had this debt forgiven now. A difficult financial situation turns into an impossible one when the IRS wants taxes on this money.
I've lost my home. I've lost everything. The bank's taken it away in foreclosure. And somehow, because a debt has been written off, they say I've got an income?
Yeah, that's right. It's right. It's exactly right. Let me put it in the context of a credit card, all right? This is a real easy to understand when we're talking about a credit card. Let's say you get a credit card, you run up $10,000 worth of debt on a credit card.
Right.
All right, when you take that money off the credit card and spend it, that is not considered income to you at that time. Right. That's a loan. Loans aren't treated as income.
Right.
All right, when you pay back the loan, you don't get a tax deduction for that, maybe the interest, but that depends. All right, so now you've run up $10,000 worth of credit card debt and you don't pay it back. Let's say it's forgiven in bankruptcy, or you negotiate with the credit card company. Now what happens is you've gotten $10,000 worth of loan proceeds, but you never had to pay them back. So the IRS takes the position that the character of the transaction changes from that of loan to that of income. And now they want tax on the forgiven debt.
Even though you're in bankruptcy?
Even though, well, you may be in bankruptcy. It could be the worst possible time of your life. And as a matter of fact, for people going through this, Pat, it is the worst possible time of their life.
That's horrible. Well, I mean, you're on the floor, you're gasping for breath, and they put their foot on your neck and try to squeeze.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, and that's what happens. But here's what people need to know. This is what the good news is, right? And this is what I talk about in the book, How to Eliminate Taxes on Debt Forgiveness Income. There are so many exceptions to this rule, Pat, that virtually everybody who's going through this situation is not going to owe the tax if they understand how to present the exception. Of course, the IRS doesn't tell you what the exceptions are. The creditors don't tell you that. They just mail out the 1099 because the IRS will penalize them if they don't. So you, as the taxpayer, have to know what the exceptions are.
Give me one or two happy exceptions.
All right, well, let me give you the one that applies almost across the board.
Okay.
All right, the rule is if you are insolvent, as of the day the debt is forgiven, then that cancellation of debt is not taxable income. Now, the definition of insolvency is very simple. If the sum of all of your debts exceeds the value of your assets, then you're insolvent. So, for example, if your only asset, let's simplify this, if your only asset's a $5,000 car and you have $10,000 worth of credit card debt, you're insolvent by $5,000. So if the credit card debt is forgiven, then you are not taxed to the extent of that insolvency. Now, Pat, people who are flat on their back financially, most of these people are insolvent.
Sure, of
all
course.
right, and in the book, I show you how to do what's called an insolvency calculation, where I take you step by step through the process of figuring out what the value of your assets are and how to calculate your debt. And then how, more importantly, how to present that to the IRS so you don't have to pay
You
tax.
don't get that stuff automatically. You're right.
No,
You've got to make the case.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. None of this applies automatically. You have to demonstrate it to the IRS. And as a matter of fact, there's a tax form that people don't know about that you can put with your tax return. So if you get one of these 1099-Cs, as millions of people will do here, or already have here for this filing season, there's a form you can put with your tax return that expresses what these exceptions are so that you don't get taxed on it.
Dan, this is going to be very helpful. Where do people get this book?
This book is available from the CNN website, the CBN website, cbn.com.
Okay.
So just go to cbn.com, and then there's a link there to order the material.
It's called How to Eliminate Taxes on Debt Forgiveness. Boy, you need all the help you can get, and I appreciate Dan for this very helpful reminder. It's an easy-to-read booklet, and you can learn the secrets. You need the secrets. Man, it shouldn't be all this hidden, but do you think are they ever going to reform that monstrous code?
Well, let's hope so. I'm working for it.
Are you?
I'm working for it. Yeah, I've been doing
But
a lot
that
of
won't
work.
put guys like you out of business, will
Well, I'll have to get a job selling shoes, Pat, but that's okay.
Dan, thanks so much. Dan Pilla, ladies and gentlemen. Look, how to eliminate taxes on debt forgiveness, and you can just link on to cbn.com and see how to get it. It's not for free, but they'll tell you how to pay for it.